My 20s feel like they were so long ago. So much has happened since then, and I'm now in my early 30s. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 best things that I did for my finances in my 20s. While there is definitely things that I didn't do so well in my 20s for my finances, I feel like there is definitely a few things that I did do really well. So let's get into it. The first thing was that I got out of debt. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you will know that I did rack up quite a bit of debt in my early 20s. I paid off my student loan when I was in my 20s, and by the age of 29, I was consumer debt free. So basically by the age of 29, all the debt was gone except for our mortgage. It was a really good feeling entering my 30s with no debt hanging over our heads. This really was the best thing that I've done for my finances and for my future. Being in debt sucks. It really does take up a lot of mental space and cause a lot of stress in your life. I really couldn't recommend more to become debt-free as soon as possible. So if you have debt, make a plan and pay it down as quickly as possible. Number 2 is that I got all my insurances in place. I took out life insurance, trauma insurance, total permanent disability insurance, and also medical insurance. I'm so glad that I did this in my 20s, especially the medical insurance. As you get older and develop any conditions or health concerns, it can be really hard to get insurance in place, as these would become what is called pre-existing conditions, and they may not be covered and could potentially be excluded from your policy. By taking out my insurances when I was in my 20s and I was fit and healthy, I've been able to get covered for absolutely everything with no exclusions in my policies. I mean, I still have no issues now, but I would recommend getting your insurances in place as early as possible. If you need help with this, feel free to reach out because I have a really amazing insurance advisor who I have used myself and for my family. And I've also referred a few clients through to him, and he's been fantastic at getting the right level of cover for everybody and keeping premiums down too. So if you'd like to even have a review of your insurances that you've got in place at the moment, feel free to reach out and I can pass you on his details to get in touch with. The third thing on this list is that I joined KiwiSaver and started thinking about my retirement planning. I only joined KiwiSaver in 2015 when I started my last job that I had. If I could turn back time, knowing what I know now, I would have joined way back in 2008 when KiwiSaver first became available, or whatever year it was that it first started. However, it was only 2015 when I first started really thinking about my finances a little bit more seriously and planning for my future, and this is when I joined KiwiSaver. I had my contribution rate set at 4% because this was what my employer at the time was matching. I also took the time each year to check how much my contributions were to ensure that I've made the right level of contributions to get that free government money or that government contribution that gets added to your KiwiSaver. I think it's never too early to start planning and thinking about your retirement, and I'm so glad that I have my KiwiSaver in place now. Being self-employed, I make sure that I still contribute to it regularly, and I always check to make sure that I've made the right level of contribution that's required to get the free government contribution each year. The fourth best thing that I did for my finances in my 20s was start an emergency fund. Now, this only just slipped into my 20s because I was 29 when I first started our emergency fund. I started it after we'd become debt-free and paid off all of our consumer debt. I'm so glad that we have this in place now, and it really does help you sleep a little bit easier at night knowing that you've got this emergency money tucked away in case anything happened. If you have debt, definitely get out of debt first and then look to start your emergency fund. Typically, it's recommended to have cash aside to cover expenses for around 3 to 6 months. You can obviously have more than this if you want to, but aim for an amount that makes you feel comfortable and helps you sleep easily at night. We keep this money in a high interest savings account, and we don't touch it unless there's an emergency. We have had to dip into it a couple of times when unexpected things have happened with our house, but we always make sure that we add funds back into it and top it up as quickly as possible. The last thing on this list is that I created a budget and a plan for our money. This has been so important for our family. Our budget has helped us get out of debt, it's helped us build our emergency fund, and it's also helped us stay on track to meet our financial goals. We know exactly where our money is going and exactly what we're spending our money on. We know what we need to save for, and we also know how much we need to put away to meet these savings goals. I honestly feel like everyone needs a budget to help set them up for financial success. Fail to plan, plan to fail is one of my favorite sayings. You've probably heard me say it a few times in some of my other videos. If you need help to create a budget, I have a really great video which is around 3 to 4 minutes long, and I'll link it down in the description box, and it will teach you my 4 quick, simple, easy steps to create a budget. Highly recommend watching and creating a budget for yourself and for your family. Okay, so that's it. 5 things that I did that were good for my finances in my 20s. To recap, I got out of debt, set up all my personal insurances, started an emergency fund, started planning and saving for retirement, and also created a budget. Now I'd love for you to jump down into the comments and let me know what is the best thing that you've done for your finances. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, as this really does help my channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.